Hello guys, this is the Overthinker and welcome back to the channel. Detroit Lions just defeated the LA Chargers 13-10. This was a very weird game, could have gone a lot of ways. And you know, we had a lot of missed kicks in this game. I think Matt Prater missed a field goal and an extra point. The Chargers kicker was actually their punter, playing as their kicker and their punter because their kicker got hurt. He missed 2 field goals, so this definitely could have had another 6 points the other way for the Chargers. A lot of penalties in this game. Looking at the box score, it's saying 9 penalties for 70 yards Chargers and 8 for 71 for the Lions. And I think a lot of those penalties were very big plays. I know the Chargers had those 2 long touchdowns called back because of penalties. I thought both of those penalties on the Chargers on those long plays, one of them was a long screen pass, I think, for Justin Jackson. The other was Austin Eckler. I thought both of those penalties were not penalties. Looking at the replay, they were not. I don't think those were penalties. I mean, one of them was kind of a holding call where the guy just kind of grabbed the guy's shoulder pad, but the running back was like already past him, and he didn't really tug on it. He just kind of like grabbed and released. He didn't he didn't pull him away or anything. He just kind of it looked very incidental to me. I was very surprised the Justin Jackson touchdown was called back. Same thing with the Austin Eckler one. It did not look like a penalty, but nonetheless, they were called back. Very good for us, as this was a very important game for the Lions. As we know, these next 2 weeks we have to go play at Philadelphia, and then we have a home game versus the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs game is going to be very similar. We're going to be playing against an offense with a lot of weapons, just like the Chargers. I know the Chargers were without Hunter Henry this week, but as we saw, they have plenty of other weapons that can do things when you get them in the open field. You know, those running backs are very good receivers, and honestly, they have a pretty good tight end there in Virgil Green. He did a really good job today as well. And obviously Keenan Allen. Looks like Keenan Allen is quite the mismatch, and Darius Slay could not handle him, look like, for this game. They were pretty much going at Darius Slay. I think they targeted him at least 12 times. So yeah, it looks like quite the mismatch. I thought Darius Slay would be able to win some of those matchups, but he honestly he got eaten alive out there for most of this game. Especially on those out routes, those comebacks, those crossing routes. He was definitely getting left in the dust by Keenan Allen. And that's not too surprising. Keenan Allen is probably a top 10 receiver in this league. I think somewhere around there. He's a very good player. And yeah, I guess that's probably where my biggest concern in this game is gonna be the secondary. I thought the pass rush wasn't very good, but I also thought I think the secondary was worse. They had way too many big plays, a lot of those crossing routes. It looks like teams are probably going to attack us with those crossing routes because they had no trouble, hitting us with those crossing routes. Whether it was Keenan Allen or Mike Williams, honestly, they both did. They both got open. It seemed like pretty easily, and also tackling seemed to be a problem for just about everyone outside of. I think Tavon Wilson and Quandre Diggs did a pretty good job tackling, but quite a few of those guys were struggling to make tackles in the open field, looked like to me, and a few of those plays were a lot longer than they should have been. So yeah, I guess it looks like what the Chargers were trying to do is isolate their guys one-on-one with our players, and anytime they had Eckler on Tavon Wilson, or they had Keenan Allen on Darius Slay, or they had Rashawn Melvin on Mike Williams, they were looking to make those. They were looking to exploit those matchups in this game, and they did a pretty good job. And honestly, I think both teams kind of got lucky with the penalties and stuff. I would say the Chargers had a lot more big plays in this game. I'm not even going to look at the stats, but I'm pretty sure they had more big plays. Yeah, secondary definitely has to do a lot better going forward. Especially if we're going to win these next 2 games or even have a chance. They're going to have to do better, especially in man coverage. If we're going to keep lining up in man coverage versus those crossing routes, they just have to be better. They have to be faster. They have to react quicker, or the pass rush has to get home, and the pass rush did not get home. We only had 1 sack this game against Philip Rivers, who's not mobile at all. And yeah, for most of this game, he was pretty much able to just kind of sit back there and wait for a crossing route to get all the way across the field. 4 or 5 seconds almost every time he dropped back. He had, and that's just way too long. Not many secondaries can cover that long, but and also when they needed a quick play, they were pretty much able to get it with going after Darius Slay with Keenan Allen. So yeah, this Chargers offense is a very, very good offense, and I mean I was expecting them to get quite a few big plays, but I was also surprised with how much success they had versus Darius Slay, and also was pretty surprised with the lack of pass rush. Looking at the big plays of the game, obviously that fumble on the goal line was very, very important. If we had not gotten that fumble, very good chance we lose this game. That was a very huge play. They were driving. I think they had a lot of long drives this game. I don't know how many drives. They must have at least like 4 or 5 drives over 50 yards where they just flipped the field position on us. I know twice they missed that field goal and then that fumble. So yeah, they definitely had some very long drives this game. And that's something that's very concerning for our defense, because as we saw versus the Cardinals, when our defense is on the field for long drives, they get tired, and that leads to a lot of issues, obviously. And I thought it did in this game, but they were able to luckily tighten up in the red zone. And once they got across, I guess about the 40-yard line, they were able to tighten up things a little bit, and also got a few penalties, which helped them. Now, looking at the offensive side, I remember the first half, it was like we were able to really run the ball quite a bit. Kerryon Johnson looked very good. There were a couple plays where I was convinced he was probably going to have a 100-yard game after watching a few of his plays in the first half. It looked like he was going to have a pretty good game because it looked like he was just making guys miss. Almost every time he was making the first guy miss when he got in the open field. And it looked like that was a problem for the Chargers. And I honestly thought they were going to keep going with that. But after, I would say about the first 3 drives, it didn't work quite as well. We started running the ball more up the middle. And that's one thing. I think this offense seems to have a lot more success with those outside runs than with the inside run. And I think this game is just a reminder that we're more, I think, an outside zone kind of run team than inside zone or power or whatever. I think it's definitely going to be a lot more success for us this year running to the outside, and we should probably commit to that more. And another thing we didn't really see as much in this game is fullback personnel. 2 running backs, 2 tight ends, 2 running backs, 1 tight end. We really didn't see that a whole lot, which was kind of surprising because we saw that a lot last week. With those play action passes, throwing it to Hockenson, all that. This week there was definitely a lot more shotgun. I bet you we were in the shotgun about 70% of this game, where the first game we were probably under center most of the game, I would say. So that's surprising to me as well. Offense looked a lot different, which isn't surprising. I guess they have really good pass rushers for the Chargers. And that's another thing that's very exciting, I think, as a Lions fan. Going into this game, our left tackle obviously was not able to go, and we threw Tyrell Crosby out there. This was his first career start at left tackle, and he looked pretty good. In the first half, I think most of the first quarter, actually, they had Joey Bosa lined up over Tyrell Crosby, and Tyrell Crosby did a pretty dang good job. I think he only really got beat by Joey Bosa maybe once or twice in the first half, and I will take that. Joey Bosa, I think, is one of the better defensive ends in the NFL. Very powerful, very fast, can really just wreck a game plan. So yeah, I mean, the fact that we were able to pretty much almost take him out of the game while having a first career starting left tackle, that's got to be very motivating going forward. That's something to look forward to. I think Tyrell Crosby has a lot of upside at left tackle. I don't know if he's going to keep that spot. I would say probably, because Taylor Decker last week was not good at all. It was probably the worst game of his career. I've heard a lot of people saying that. And I would not be surprised if Tyrell Crosby is the starter going forward. But also, it was his first career start. It wasn't perfect, but towards the I think the end of the first quarter, or maybe it was the second quarter, they actually decided to move Joey Bosa to the other side of the field and moved him over Rick Wagner. So yeah, and then they moved Melvin Ingram to the other side to line up against Tyrell Crosby, and Tyrell Crosby still did a pretty good job. So yeah, that's really good. Honestly, I'm really happy about that. So yeah, very surprised that the announcers kept saying this stat about Matthew Stafford's passes without an interception, where we all know eventually he's going to throw one. He's going to throw it deep, throw it up to a receiver, and it's going to get picked. And that happened twice in this game. The first one I thought was a pretty good decision, looked like a decent matchup. And, you had, I think it was Kenny Galladay out there lined up against, who was that? Casey Hayward, I think. That's a pretty good matchup, and I think you take that shot most times. But it wasn't the best pass, I would say. It should have been a little higher, a little more to the outside. Galladay wasn't really in position to make that play. He did a good job when the ball was in the air, trying to make it so the defender didn't have a chance, and then kind of swatting the ball. But he pretty much swatted it right into the guy's chest, and then it bounced right up, and then he was able to just kind of cradle it. So pretty good pick, honestly. And that was very impressive. But also, on the second interception with Matthew Stafford, I really don't know what he was looking at. It was a deep post. It looked like they were in a cover 3 or some kind of man coverage with the safety playing 40 yards off the line of scrimmage. He was basically, the safety was at the snap of the ball just kind of running backwards, backpedaling the whole play. He was just waiting there. I don't understand what Stafford was looking at. Maybe he was looking at something else. I don't know. He definitely was not looking at the safety that was right there. So that was questionable. And yeah, I think against these better teams, Stafford's going to have to clean up stuff like that. And yeah, I think overall Matthew Stafford did a pretty good job this game. I know there's 2 interceptions. One of them was kind of just not the best pass in terms of accuracy. Should have been a little higher. The second one was a very questionable decision. But also, after making that interception, they had the ball on their 20-yard line. It was basically a very long punt, but it was on 1st and 15, so you don't really want to throw a pass like that on 1st and 15. I think if it's 3rd and forever, makes sense. It's kind of a long punt, but on 1st down, you don't really want to force that into that window. And yeah, I guess it's kind of funny, but if you think about those 2 interceptions and you replace that receiver with Calvin Johnson, yeah, that's probably at least one of those is a catch, and I guarantee neither of them are an interception. But yeah, I mean, I know there's those jokes about, Matthew Stafford can't play without Calvin. I don't necessarily believe in that, but this game we might have had another touchdown, and I bet you that other play with the safety just kind of waiting on it, he probably would not have been able to outleap Calvin on that play, right? I think that's a situation where Stafford has to say, okay, I know the safety's waiting there, and I know I have Kenny Galladay, pretty tall guy, but I probably still should not force it into double coverage, especially on 1st and 15. And yeah, another really big play was right before the end of half. I think it was Rashaan Melvin. Yeah, it was Rashaan Melvin lined up against Mike Williams on the outside, and they only had 10 seconds left in the half. They take this deep shot down the left sideline. Rashaan Melvin gets smoked. That was crazy to see. I did not know Mike Williams is that fast. I guess he's pretty quick, and he was running on a bum knee this week. He definitely fired off the line there and got right behind him. Yeah, it looked like on that play that Quandre Diggs was kind of going for the ball when he was diving. It looked like he was trying to catch it. And I don't know. I mean, there's only 10 seconds left in the half. I think there you gotta try and force the incompletion. Stay on your feet, and just kind of go for the ball, but not try to pick it off. It looked like his technique was a little off there. It looked like he was trying to make the diving interception instead of play the receiver in the ball. If that play doesn't happen, I would have felt a lot better about this game. But yeah, that was a huge play. Basically, took no time to get down the field. And on that play, Rivers had forever, right? So yeah, that's another one of those big plays that I think has to be cleaned up going forward. Obviously in that situation, Quandre Diggs is smarter than that. He's got to play the ball there, and play the receiver. And yeah, I think somewhere there in the third quarter, Kerryon Johnson got hurt on. I think it was that play where he made like 3 guys miss. Looked like he got hurt. He got taken out of the game, went to the locker room, came right back. Hopefully going forward he'll be okay. I don't know if he even played in the fourth quarter, but it didn't look. Maybe it did. I couldn't remember. I remember seeing C.J. Anderson a lot in the fourth quarter. So, I hopefully Kerryon can come back next week and be good to go. Because we're gonna need him against the Chargers. I mean, we're gonna need him against the Eagles and the Chiefs to win those games. He's definitely probably the best player with the ball in his hands on our team, and we're gonna need that. So yeah, biggest surprises for this game, I would say definitely T.J. Hockenson only having, what is it, 1 catch for 7 yards, I think. Yeah, that's crazy. After the first week, had over, I think it was 130 yards. Just 1 catch today. But I mean, the Chargers did a pretty good job covering up T.J. Hockenson this game, and he wasn't the main target most of the game. It looked like the main target this game was mostly going to be Kenny Golladay and Marvin Jones. So yeah, not the worst win, but also not the best win, I would say, for the Detroit Lions. Definitely a lot of things could have gone the Chargers' way. If you look at the missed field goals, all the penalties, definitely the 2 touchdowns that were called back. The fumble on the goal line, it was literally like the half-yard line. Eckler was like in the air, and Tavai just kind of punched it out as he was diving. Very good play, honestly. Tavai on that play jumped over the line as well, basically trying to mirror the running back there, and got his hand right in the right spot, knocked the ball out. And then Devon Kennard was like literally standing right there. The ball comes out like right in front of him. So that was, that was crazy. You don't see that. You don't see that every week. That was very good turnover. And then obviously at the end there, Philip Rivers throwing that interception, questionable play there. Looked like double coverage to me on the corner route there. I think that was Keenan Allen. But that's a good play for Darius Slay to kind of redeem himself after pretty much getting eaten alive this game. Versus Keenan Allen. He had a couple times where he swatted the ball away, but most of the time he was about a step and a half behind on most of those routes. So, good thing for him there to, be in position. I know it was a bad decision by the quarterback, Philip Rivers, but also good play being in position there and, making the catch, because he dropped one earlier that I thought could have been an interception. I think it was right before the end of the first half. It looked like he had a play that could have been a pick. So yeah, good play from him there, making up for, most of the bad play he had in the game. He's still our best player, I think, on defense, especially in the secondary. We're going to have to trust him next week. He's probably going to play, I don't know if he's going to line up in man coverage like he did this week. This week he pretty much followed, tried to follow Keenan Allen across the field the entire game. But I guess we'll see. The Eagles have a couple pretty good receivers there. But yeah, I guess that's about what I got. I think it's an exciting win. It's a home win. This is a game I thought we had to win. I thought we should have really should have won last week. But beating the Chargers, I think, very good. Even though they're not without one of the best players at tight end. This is a very good win for the Lions. The Chargers are a team that are probably going to make the playoffs. I think for most people, the Chargers were kind of like that dark horse to possibly make the Super Bowl. One of the best teams in the AFC, and certainly right there with the Chiefs. Right there with the Chiefs in the AFC there. So yeah, I think very big win, very important game, and hopefully we can use this win as motivation going forward into these next couple of games, because we're definitely going to need to start off hot. I think versus the Eagles, they have scored a lot of points, and same thing with the Chiefs. The Chiefs are going to score points. It's going to be very hard to hold the Chiefs anywhere near 10 or 20 points. So yeah, I think next couple weeks offense is going to have to score a lot more points. We're going to need better play from our kickers. Secondary is going to have to be a lot better. But also this week we made those plays when we had to. The fumble, the interception. Just timely plays that were made at the most important times of the game. And hopefully next week we can do the same thing and get a little better at everything. And yeah, I guess we'll see what happens next week versus the Eagles. Should be a very entertaining game.